Disney World and Disneyland are reimposing their indoor mask policy for all guests, regardless of their vaccination status. It's the latest move. We've been seeing them around the country due to concerns about the surging Delta variant, which has prompted the mayor of Orange County, Florida, where Disney World is located, to issue a state of emergency. In Chicago, the Lollapalooza Music Festival starts today. The 100,000 fans they expect each day will be required to show proof of vaccination or a negative test within the last 3 days. Let's bring in our NBC News reporters, Carrie Sanders in Orlando, Shaquille Brewster in Chicago. We're also joined by Dr. Megan Ranney, Assistant Dean of Brown University School of Public Health. Good to see all of you. So, Carrie, talk to us about what's going on in the Orlando area. I think there's been a huge jump in both cases and the positivity rate there.
A huge jump. I'm at Advent Health, which is the major health system here in this part of the state. 20 hospitals, and they have 1,000 actual COVID cases right now in their hospitals, which is a new record. Let's take a look at the actual numbers that sort of tell you how dramatic things are. On Tuesday, Orange County had a record number of new COVID cases, 1,371. And when you take a look at the positivity rate here, we're more than 15%, where just 6 weeks ago it was slightly, well, just about 3.7%. In other words, they've seen this incredible spike. Joining us here is Dr. Rebecca Gomez, and she is just coming out of the ward with those who have COVID. Still got your mask on. I'm just sort of curious, first of all, tell me, as you see the numbers increasing, what does it tell you and what's your worry?
It's been such a dramatic increase. We've had to open up units that have been closed for months, seeing numbers that we haven't seen previously in this pandemic. We've got staff that are having to pull extra shifts to make sure we've got coverage, and we've had to start canceling some elective procedures to make sure that we have enough room and staff for the patients.
This is sort of an explosion in new patients?
Absolutely. This is one of the highest numbers that we've seen this entire pandemic. Just 6 weeks ago, it looked like things were pretty calmed down. It looked like this was going to be a lot more sustainable. And then we just had a dramatic turn in the last few weeks.
Doctors, those who are showing up, how many are they vaccinated or not vaccinated? And what are they saying about, can I get a vaccine now if they're not?
We have seen a few breakthrough cases. The majority of those are either asymptomatic or very mild cases. Right now, 97% of the patients who are in the hospital with COVID are unvaccinated.
97%?
97%. And there's a lot of expression of regret, thinking that they just didn't need the vaccine or they weren't too worried about it, now wishing that they had had it.
Okay. Dr. Gomez, thank you very much for joining us. And, you know, that is the health side. Those are the numbers. There's also a political side to this. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis giving a speech in Salt Lake City, responding to the CDC and Dr. Fauci's suggestion that people mask up inside buildings. Here's what the governor had to say.
All Americans should be free to choose how they govern their affairs, how they take care of themselves and our families, and they should not be consigned to live, regardless of which state in the union, consigned to live in a Faucian dystopia in which we're governed by the whims of bureaucratic authorities who care little for our freedom, little for our aspirations, and little for our happiness. No more. We can't let it happen going forward.
Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings, who established the state of emergency, saying that the governor is not leading and says that he has been stripped of his ability to make decisions for this community because the governor and the legislature said that if there is going to be a decision made anywhere in the state, it must be made at the state level, not at the local level. And clearly, with across the state, 16,000 new cases on Tuesday of coronavirus, there are local officials who wish they had that authority to mandate mask wearing rather than simply try to cheerlead people into putting on masks. Chris?
Yeah, and those doctors who have to tell those folks who say, I wish I'd gotten the vaccine, that it's too late. I mean, Shaq, let's go to Chicago because, you know, Lollapalooza is one of those things where, you know, when you're going to see the visuals, 100,000 people, it's kind of symbolically, oh, we're back. But the fact of the matter is, this is going to be a test, right? Are we back? Do we know how to deal with this? Or is this going to be a super spreader event? What are they doing there?
That's right, and it's going to be a test of COVID protocols because the city and event organizers have come together with and created some pretty strictly enforced COVID requirements. Any attendee, whether it's a vendor, an attendee, or a worker, a volunteer, needs to come with proof of a vaccination or a negative COVID test within the past 72 hours. This is a 4-day event, so some attendees will have to get tested twice just for this event. If you don't have that vaccination, then you have to wear a mask once you're inside. And despite those COVID precautions and those protocols that are in place, there's a divide here in Chicago over whether or not this event should be taking place, whether they should have gone forward with this event. While you have an alderman who said it should have been moved, you have the governor and the mayor saying that, no, it's a good thing that this is happening and it can be done safely. And that divide over whether or not you should be concerned about coming here, you hear even among some of the attendees and groups of attendees. I want you to listen to a little bit of my conversation with a group who came here from Ohio.
I was fine with it because I'm vaccinated.
Yeah, I think it's a smart idea.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's a smart idea?
Keep people safe.
Yeah, I think with the new Delta variant too, it's definitely a smart idea. Keep everyone safe.
Was there any concern, any hesitation coming here with that Delta variant?
No, not really.
A little bit.
Explain that.
I mean, you just go back, you think about the first quarantine we had, and then even just the first strand, and now it's mutated, and it gets a little nerve-wracking.
Now, Chicago has not seen that similar surge that you've seen in other parts of the country. The concern and the hope is that this event does not lead to that. Chris?
Yeah, certainly.